way to the track. I said, I bet you never seen Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, or guys like that. There's faster cars and bigger stars, girls and high bank curves. He just smiled at me and never said a word. I told him that their nerves are steel and cars that almost fly. You won't believe the skill in the way that these guys drive. I said, there's more fans in the stands. And then I realized he just sat there listening with a twinkle in his eyes. I said, these are the days when they race for their pride, swapping paint in the turn, coming out 3 wide, racing for the win and never looking back. These are the days at the track. That's when my dad said to me, hold on 1 minute, son. Let me tell you how it was back when I was young. There was Ned Jarrett and Buddy Baker and the Alabama gang. I just sat and listened as he rattled off those names. He told me how the drivers worked on their own car. They had a pit crew of friends and family, but they worked just as hard. No walls to hit, just men of grit. No sponsor, but a lot of heart. I remember how it was when racing got its start. He said those were the days when they raced for their pride, swapping paint in the turns, coming out 3 wide, racing for the win and never looking back. Those were the days at the track.
Green, and Burrell, your top three. More time around. And the win to the number 2 out of Stockton, Chad Bindi. Second to the 41 of Chris Green. And third, the 24 of Jason Burrell. We'll have to hold on scoring to be sure on the fourth one. We'll try to get the sponsors for the rest of these guys. We're going to have the number 18, sponsored by Roadrunner Tow, Street Machine Specialties, U-Haul 710 Company, California Street Machine, Ramirez Tow, and GM Towing out of Fairfield. That'll be Josh Gillis. Have the number 36, sponsored by J. Milano Company and B&F Racing Engines out of Stockton, Ashley Alberti. Number 13, with no sponsors, out of Manteca, Forrest Souza. We'll have the number 80, sponsored by TNT Racing and King Motorsports out of Concord. That'll be Trevor Day. The number 32, a new driver here out of Modesto, Zach Davis. Zach Davis is the number 32. Then we'll have the number 37, sponsored by TNT Racing, King Motorsports, Ned's Auto Body, McAlvey's Nursery out of Pittsburgh. That'll be Dustin Anderson. We'll have the number 83, sponsored by Pro Motorsports, Buzz In, Oakley Stern Drive, and Oakley Cleaners out of Oakley. It'll be Travis Chadwick. We'll have the number 88, sponsored by TNT Racing and King Motorsports out of Concord, Travis Day. And trailing the field, the number 87, sponsored by Pennzoil out of Rockland, Calvin Lewis. That'll be your second heat for the B Division box stock. We got a green. And Calvin Lewis with a problem on the front straightaway. Green's out. Josh Gillis is the lead. Got some pressure back there from the number 80 of Trevor Day. White flag in their face that time by. And heat number 2 goes out to the number 18 out of Fairfield, Josh Gillis. Second to the number 80, Trevor Day. Third to the 36 of Ashley L. Birdie. Fourth to the 37, Dustin Anderson. And we'll move to the box stock A division for their heat race. That'll be the 0. This is not the way they're going to line up. I'm just calling them off the roster. The 0 sponsored by Stockton Auto Supply, AAA Auto Glass, Grand Auto Sales, B&R Machine, Axles Plus, JB Racing Engine, and Don's Auto Repair out of Manteca. That'll be Michael Brooks Jr. The 2M sponsored by the Uncle Connection, Gallagher Designs, Charlie's High Performance Machine, Checkerboard Radiator, Tough Boy Sales, GB Industrial Power Party, B&F Body Shop, Apple Tools, Moises Racing, DJ Carpets, and Dave Bueno. Out of Anna, that'll be Nick Miller. The 7C, sponsored by Miracle Auto Painting, McSperrin Auto Glass, and Stockton Wheel. Out of McCampo will be Kristen Straw. The number 14, sponsored by California Roofing, KMD Racing, Dwarf World, and M&M Racing. Out of Tracy will be Kelly Monroe. The number 17, sponsored by DeCarlo's Auto Repair, Busby Motorsports, J&D Custom Embroidery, Redline Oil, Bill McCarty Racing Engines, Ace Tire and Slot Car Warehouse out of Martinez. That'll be Nick DeCarlo. The number 33, sponsored by J. Milano Company, B&F Motors, KMD Racing. Out of Stockton will be David Johnson. Number 45, sponsored by Auto House Body and Paint, United Rounds of Lodi, Ken's Custom Glass and Mirror, with a special thanks to Uncle Harold Grandpa Jr. out of McCampo. That'll be Jeff Sullivan. The number 73, sponsored by Alta Fence Company, Busby Motorsports, and Kendra's Custom Meat. Out of Martinez will be Darrell King. The number 92, sponsored by GB Industrial Spray, Manteca Boat Works, Gallagher Designs, Manteca Service Center, 99 Recycling Center, Professional Appliance Installers, B&F Auto Body, Miller's Checkerboard Radiator. Out of Manteca, the 93, James Carpenter. We've got a green and they're already spinning. Carpenter wedged in the middle, but not for long. We go with a checkered yellow, leaving the win to the 2M. Nick Miller, followed to the 17 of Nick DiCarlo, the 7C of Christian Straw, and the 0 Mike Brooks Jr. McCarthy, that's Darryl McCarthy in that front row, brings him around. So I'm going to tell him one more time around. Jorgensen and Roy McCarthy in row 2. Todd Bennett and Chris Conley in the back row. pick up the 84 driving tonight, Ron McCall Jr. out of Antigua. He fills in at the back. Nobody changed positions after they went into turn 3, because that's where I had the squirrel. Give the win to the 15, Mark Pullman out of Los Alamos, followed by the 41, Brian Jorgensen, the 25 of Todd Dennett, and the 6 of Chris Parkley. The way they were, coming around. Black man is squinting into the sunset. We got a green. Top 3 slots. Slide to the number 3 spot. And more. Bobber's off of turn 2, and Gertie takes advantage of it to take the 2nd spot away. Stand by. And in one of his patented last lap moves, goes into first place to take the win, the number 1G out of Livermore, Chuck Gurney Jr. Number 31 picks up the 2nd spot, that's Jason Newton. 3rd place, the 77, Darryl Moore, and then the 10 of Garrett Andrews. looks like we're going to bring out our blast from the past vintage cars for your enjoyment here. These are some of the original midgets from the late 40s, early 50s, some into the very early 60s. And I just realized that I did not bring up the little book that they bring with them that gives me the description on these cars. I apologize for that. I do have their names and homes, but I don't have the years and models. The number 12 out there is being driven by Dick Nelson out of San Jose. I think is that the one? All I can see is I see one piece of sun in my eye, that's for sure. Yeah, it's number 1, driven by Ron Dunn out of Santa Clara. On the backstretch, the number 95 out of Daly City, Mike Mosikiel. I'd have to work with that name for a while. That wouldn't roll off my tongue real good for about the first 6 weeks of the season. This is what they look like in the early years. The only difference is the drivers had very much less protection to themselves than what you see. The number 36 out of San Carlos, Jim Fowler down the front straightaway. In those days, they ran in white T-shirts, and they had a pack of unfiltered Camel cigarettes rolled up in the T-shirt sleeve, and they had an old leather, sloppy, flying helmet, if you want to call it that. Absolutely no protection. The only thing it did for you is keep the dirt out of your hair. You see very little roll cage sticking up behind their head. Obviously no roll cage material or bars to protect them. It was a very dangerous sport then. Of course, racing is a dangerous sport now, but it was even more so then. And you know, they really didn't think about it back then. They just got out and went crazy. There's the number 4 coming off from Livermore. That's Sammy Bellafiore. Sammy Bellafiore in that number 4. And who else did I miss here when I was talking? Let me check it out. The blue number 7. That's Bud Gray out of Granite Bay. Bud Gray out of Granite Bay. And I think we're only missing one. That would be the number 47, Pete Gray out of Hercules. There he is on the backstretch. Pete is the current, if you want to call it, promoter, leader, whatever, for the vintage division. Each year they have an officers election, and they change presidents, if you want to call it that, of the Vintage Association. Somebody to take care of it, work the different tracks. Here's yet another one that I overlooked, the number 85 out of El Sobrante. This is Stu Donaldson. Stu, S-T-U, Donaldson. go, ladies and gentlemen, for your enjoyment, round one of the evening of the Vintage Midgets. They are not allowed for insurance purposes, number one, to race side by side. They are allowed to pass. They have their own rules for that. If they can pass safely without injury or possible damage to the other car, they're allowed to do so. They keep their speeds under control, and the opposite reason rather than insurance is that all these guys are not actually the race car drivers. They're car owners and don't have a lot of real full-speed, dicey abilities on a racetrack. And it's not necessarily, it is true that the parts on these cars are very cost prohibitive. The harder detail of that is some of them are simply no longer available. These are, it's like having a Tiffany lamp in your bedroom and you take it out in the backyard and play with it. It's what they're doing with these things. They're in a sense priceless in some cases and irreplaceable. Some of these chassis are stamped. And some of these chassis, there may have only been 10 or 15 of them built, and you might see one of those out there that's stamped number 3. And there's no other in existence in the United States anywhere for some of those cars, so they're quite a deal. And we move to the Sportsman division. Looks like the inside front row occupied by the 58 of Fred Clement, next to him the 7 of Jeff Tucker. And row number 2, the 77, Bernie Layton Jr., and the 76 of Vern Terrell. Back of the pack, the number 66, Fast Time Man, at the back this time around. That's Pete Paulson. Yellow out. 77 of Layton just gets totally loose off of turn 4 and in the process sweeps Paulson's car with him as they both spin. The best part of the night as the sun slowly seeps below the pine tree over there. George, another heat win, making it career heat number 20 for the number 58, Fred Clement. Followed by the number 7 of Jeff Tucker, the 76 of Vern Terrell, and the 66 of Pete Paulson. Virginia says, don't you point me at that wall. Matt Borges out in front. Heat win for the number 45 out of Banta. Your point leader, Matt Borges. Second of the number 7 truck of Joe Camber, then the 52 of Ryan Philpott, and the 60 of Mark Borges. Try to get some sponsors. We got the 111 out there, sponsored by American's Tires, Miracle Auto Painting, and Rooftop Metal Products. Out of Stockton, that will be Greg Marorik. We've got the 188, sponsored by Mike's Towing Service, Scenic Shell Automotive, and Valley Auto Wreckers. Driving it is George Pierce. We've got the 555, sponsored by Kennedy Auto Dismantlers, 5-Star Muffler, Burns Towing, NorCal Batteries, Allstate Insurance, and Wright's Quality Automotive. Out of Manteca, the driver tonight, Jonathan Wright. Got the 570 is sponsored by America's Tires, Miracle Auto Painting, Rooftop Metal Products, and Alta Fence. In the 570, Deanne Jones tonight. Number 888, sponsored by Burns Towing, 5-Star Muffler, and Kennedy Auto Dismantlers. That is Rod Gorham. We got a green. And George turns it around, gets it back under course, brings it back around. Out on the track he goes. In the meantime, the 555 of Jonathan Wright is your leader. Greg Maroig slides through for second. Maroig has a look inside, doesn't work, brings it back. Wright continues to lead. And Deanne Jones gets it down underneath. Maybe she can hold off for second. Down the back stretch they go. Look out. Bingo goes the 111 into the wall. Got some smoke off a tire. He's either cut it or he's got the body rubbing. And he's going to take her to the infield. Right in the lead still. Rod Gorham putting some pressure on the back of Deanne Jones up there. We get a white flag as your leader flashes by this time. Jonathan Wright out of Manteca in the 555 picks up the heat win. Second in the 570 to Deanne Jones out of Oakley. Third to the 888 out of Manteca, Rod Gorham. And fourth to the 188 out of Modesto, George Pierce. We got a green. Horace Sousa with the lead. We get a yellow. Coming around, single file. Black man's looking, he shows him a green. Horace Sousa says, thank you very much, I'm out of here. Oh, swings wide. Captain Straw comes to the inside. Horace fights back. And looks like Straw's got it handled as it comes around down the front straightaway. Straw, Sousa, and Leighton here, top three. Only two will transfer. A little bit of slow traffic for them to move around, see how they do. And Sousa gets the better of that, brings it back into the lead. As we get a couple spin, they pick it up, they keep going. There'll be no yellow as long as they do. So we're back to Sousa in the lead and Straw second. I don't know why everybody's going slow. We got a white flag anyway. Yeah, he's across, he's across. Happy camper in the infield. And taking that A-man transfer ticket and putting it in his pocket out of Manteca, number 13, Forrest Sousa. Getting the other transfer ticket, the number 3, Kevin Straw. And then unofficially, I don't want to say for sure, but I thought it was the 83 of Travis Chadwick and then the 87 of Kelvin Lewis, but I'll check with scoring to make sure. Josh Gillis on the front row. Looks like the 41 of Green and the 80 of Trevor Day in row number 2. We're going to get a green just that fast. Lap number 1. And we get a yellow combination of the 73 of Darren Jones over there, and I think it's the 18 of Josh Gillis who was up second place. Fell off the power or something over there. Something went wrong. Coming around, looking for that green. He says, here it is, guys. of Stockton, Chad Bindi. Second place, the 41 out of Riverbank, Chris Green. Third, the number 80 out of Concord, Trevor Day. Unofficially, I'll give it to number 3 for fourth place out of a Campbell, Kevin Straw. And then out of Gulf, first-time driver, the number 28, Justin Winter. I'll let you know if that's right. Or actually, I'll let you know if it's wrong. If you don't hear anything, no news is good news. Box Stock A Division main event. Looks like the 2M of Nick Miller down there. The 17 of Nick DaCosta. The 7C of Christian Straw. The 0 Mike Brooks Jr. The 33 of David Johnson. The 14 of Kathy Monroe. Or Kelly Monroe. I say Kathy. I see through the fence the number 73, Darrell King. Then the 45 of Jeff Sullivan. And the 93 of James Carpenter. Green, and they're gone. These puppies are getting fast, folks. White flag will stand by. We got a battle. Main event win number 4. of the season for your second place important runner out of Martinez, the number 17, Nick DiCarlo. Second to the 0, Mike Brooks Jr., your incoming point leader. Third to the 2M, Nick Miller. Fourth to the 33 of David Johnson. Fifth to the 7C of Christian Straw. Warming up, looks like the front row is the 58 of Fred Clement and the 7 of Jeff Tucker. Back row, the 76 of Vern Terrell and the 66 of Pete Paulson. No flag, no flag. Set for 15 laps. Maintain the pace. The number 15, Pete Paulson, has come from the back of the pack up to second. He's got a ways to go to drag him in. Clement bobbles a little bit there. Don't know what that was all about. Allows Paulson to get by. And Clement gets a piece of that front wall that time by. Pulling back, we're going to have it at the end here. And he backs it across. for the win for the number 66, Pete Paulson. Backing across in second, the 58 of Fred Clement. In the third slot, the 7 of Jeff Tucker, and then the 76 of Vern Terrell. Looks like we got a full field. Start to let them pick up the pace as they go by, and they'll give you a little bit of the sounds of yesteryears. Here we go. This is what dirt track racing was all about in the late 30s, in the 40s before World War II, and after the 40s into the 50s. There was no hardtop racing back then to speak of. The hardtops didn't come along until into the 50s. All the dirt tracks around the United States were all this kind of midget racing in those days. Literally hundreds of these cars throughout California back in those days, running seven days a week, and sometimes 10 times during that 7 days at different tracks. Slipping in the slide here tonight. And you're not seeing what these things have got, really, truthfully. I would say, yeah, once in a great while, you might get somebody to hit its peak for just a second, but they're not holding it around the track all the way. I'd say you're not seeing any more than 70% of the capacity of these cars, maybe 65% of the capacity of what these cars could do in very professional, capable hands. A lot of these guys, like I say, are owners. They just come out to play with these things. And they're not really experienced in left-right turns and dicing for the lead. You can imagine, look out there and think back. Some of those drivers, DeJorn, Veal, Vukovic, Senior. Just picture them in those cars. They were absolute screamers in their days.